From the Black Swan Media Studios, deep inside a secret underground bunker, we're speaking to freedom-loving patriots from all around the country and the world. Welcome to the Resistance. This is John Crump, live.
And it is John Crump Live, and I am John Crump, and I am alive. I am joined by my co-host, Flying Rich, the flying one himself, who crashes airplanes into houses and cars. How are you doing?
Good. No houses, no cars lately.
Well, that is a good thing. Crashing into houses and cars is probably not the best thing to do. And we are joined by Barret, and Barret runs a little training academy, which is a really cool training academy. Before we get into it, tell everyone who you are and what you do.
Hey, what's up, guys? Barret Kendrick. I run Bearco Training and Defender School. Mainly, I focus on firearms-based personal defense training, as well as unarmed active shooter response training for schools, churches, businesses, that kind of stuff. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks for coming back.
How is the training going with everything?
There's always ups and downs with everything in the gun industry. There's always ups and downs. It's weird, from year to year, things look different for me, always. Sometimes some things are busy. Sometimes other things are less busy. This year, I'm getting ready to set up all of my, different travel courses, kind of from the East Coast to the West Coast, doing more of like what I'm calling a parking lot violence class. And so we'll kind of jump around. There'll be live fire components as well as RBT components with it. So that's getting ready to start taking place, around the country. Right now, as well as, I've really been putting more of an emphasis on content generation and articles and that kind of stuff. So I'll write a ton more articles this year, than I have in the past several years.
Yeah, I gotta learn that writing stuff. So you've been traveling around the country. This could be coast to coast, New York, California, Florida to Texas. How far is this coast to coast training going to go?
Well, I mean, I should be on the West Coast this year. Typically, I do California, just about every other year or so. I'm out teaching and training in California. Usually, is on the East Coast. I've been out to Massachusetts. It's weird, right? I end up going to some of these states that aren't exactly known to be extremely firearm friendly. I'm looking to put courses out there in Florida again this year as well, though.
We're in Florida.
In the past, I've kind of done some training, around the St. Augustine area and whatnot over at Ancient City Shooting Range. They have, sold that range. And so I'm kind of looking at different facilities. I've trained in the Panhandle, numerous times. There's a, big range that's kind of outside the Destin, Pensacola area. I may end up going back there this year.
Were you looking to do indoor or outdoor stuff?
Outdoor, especially with this class, definitely outdoor.
Aries Firearm Training, they're in Leesburg.
Trey, we know the owner of Aries. Good guy.
Yeah, definitely.
So we can
make
get you
that
in contact
connection
with him if you want.
Definitely so. Look like I'm going to Wyoming too, this summer. So yeah.
Cowboy territory.
Oh, it's beautiful up there. It's beautiful. Hopefully I catch some of the warmer Wyoming. They get those ridiculously negative temperatures during the winter. But
Yeah, my wife was deployed internally in the United States during COVID for a couple months to North Dakota during the winter.
Oh, wow. That just, it sounds painful.
Oh, she said it was very, very, very cold.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah, she got sent to a Indian reservation for a couple months during the whole
Yeah.
COVID thing.
Well, okay then.
And she said it was incredibly cold.
Oh, I can't imagine. I don't do well. I used to like cold weather, and I still, I enjoy visiting the places with cold weather and kind of bundle up while I'm there. But, very quickly, I'm like, I need warmth. I'm wearing a sweatshirt today. Louisiana went from literally, like 80 degrees yesterday to it's been like 50 degrees all day today. And I don't know what happened to it, but apparently somebody broke something and here we are.
Yeah, I know. It was like up here, it was warm yesterday. Then we had severe winds come through last night in the DC area. And then it got very, very cold. Rich lives freaking in southern Florida.
In Jupiter, so Palm Beach County. Love it. Just love it. Although the pollen tries to kill me, but
Like, what's the
they'll try
temperature
to-
there, Rich?
Oh, it's probably like 75 today.
And that's, I want to be down there. I really want to be down there. No, granted, I prefer the Gulf of Mexico side, so I'd prefer to be on the opposite side of the state. But I definitely want to be below the Tampa line. Just
Oh, it's 76. Correction.
right there. You go. Beautiful weather.
Must be nice. Must be nice. No
So how have y'all been?
Good, good.
I've been sick.
Yeah, since SHOT Show, John.
Oh, you
John
got it.
pneumonia.
Yeah, I had bacterial antibiotic resistant pneumonia. So
Oh,
I've been
wow.
recovering for like about a month, a little bit over a month.
Glad you're bouncing out of that.
I'm getting it. I haven't been able to do like a full week of shows. Actually, I missed like 3 weeks of shows just because I'm just so sick.
Right. Well,
But I'm not back to my full schedule, but I'm getting there. As you can tell, my voice is still kind of gruff and stuff like that. I'm still coughing and stuff like that, but I'm getting better.
that's good to hear. Yeah,
Luckily,
I just hit
I
the
have
mute
a
button
dumb
while
button.
I cough too.
Yeah, I have a cough button right here if I could just.
Right.
And Rich has been helping me out. He's been doing a lot of the heavy lifting because the more I talk, the worse I feel.
Thank you for the recognition.
Yeah. Well, you deserve it, man. You've been doing a lot of the heavy lifting.
So is that one of the audience members that wants you to have a desk pop with that 50 cal in the back?
Yeah.
I got one coming.
Just don't tell my wife.
As it knocks the dust off the walls.
I got
Like,
one coming.
honey,
And I'm
Well-
going to shoot this right here. The Gun Violence Suppression Division. The ones that take all
he's
the
got a
guns away.
challenge point from them.
Shooting with the 50
So-
cal.
Right now, I'm 3D printing a 5.56 Gatling gun, so I just working on the bolt for it.
Oh, that's very neat.
Yeah, but the 3D printed linked ammo, or 3D printed links for the ammo.
You can't stop the signal. Yeah, we're all into 3D printing and building here.
My 3D printer's just been collecting dust behind me back there.
Well,
Which
what
one
type
do you have?
I've got an Ender.
Yeah.
Ender
So
5.
donate
Pro.
it to somebody you don't like.
Yeah, I have a Bamboo Labs X1 Carbon, and I have a Flash Forge.
Nice.
I didn't realize. Yeah, you told me. It's funny. I haven't seen that though at your place.
You
But
have. You've been in the room with it.
No, I guess didn't look at it. The bamboo is totally. It is like I tell everybody. It's like an Ender 3, and I've had a couple. It's like you're an expert on carburetors and points, condensers, rotors, and you found out now everything's direct cylinder injection and coil over plug ignition. It's like, what? It is absolutely, and you couldn't get me. You put a gun to my head, say pay more than $200 for a printer, I tell you no way. the Ender is gone as far as I'm concerned, and the bamboo is just so good. It is.
No, they look very impressive. They really do. I've looked for a
it-
reason to spend the money.
I mean, it's like an HP LaserJet. You send a print to it, boom, it does it. It's remarkable. It really.
Yeah.
None of this. And don't get me wrong. I'm a master with an Ender 3. I tuned the freaking living hell out of it, and I got it working great. But
One thing, if you like to like tune stuff, and
yeah,
then
it took me a year to get my Ender 5, to a point that I'm like, all right, now that's pretty impressive prints.
Yeah, with the bamboo, you take it out of the box and like 5 minutes later.
20. Yeah, it literally. I live streamed when I got my first bamboo. I got 2 now. I live streamed setting it up and doing the first print. It like in 20 minutes. It's unbelievable.
You set it up and you hit a button and it would calibrate its own self. Make all the corrections. It like the senses the vibrations and adjusts the vibrations and everything.
Yeah, that's basically it's leveraging a couple open source projects. So like Clipper, so it senses the motion of the head and the frame. What's amazing is, so I have an Ender 7, which is a Core XY, and it's very heavily built. It's very rigid. The bamboo looks, it's stamped out of sheet metal, and it's not nearly as rigid. And the bamboo is just head and tails over it, because it has all of that accelerometer stuff going on. And even though the frame is moving, it still does great prints. It's crazy. It really is crazy. I'm sorry. No, I don't mean to talk 3D printing for the show. But it's very impressive what it can do.
Yeah. So how's the training environment? Are you noticing more people getting training or less people since? I know there was an explosion of training a while back. Is that still happening?
No, I think it's definitely, has decreased since that big explosion with the start of, the Israel conflict. Right now, I don't know if y'all have heard, but Louisiana is getting ready to become the 28th state to pass some form of permitless carry. And so, things like the concealed
you said
carry
that
permit.
Correctly. I was waiting for you to say it wrong.
It is permitless carry. That's right.
I've seen places say, "Oh, constitutional carry in 27 states now," and I'm like, "Yeah, not so much in Florida."
Not so much, right? You're right, and ours is permitless carry. It's definitely not constitutionally protected. But
in Louisiana, didn't you have open carry? Like if you're 18, you can open carry.
Right, we do, and technically,
okay. So now this is concealed carry, is
right?
What you're talking.
Right,
okay.
This is concealed carry, and so. Whereas in Louisiana, open carry is constitutionally protected. And so, we don't have very many restrictions on that outside of like firearm free zone laws. And, we've got some other stuff with alcoholic beverages outlets when it comes to open carry.
Well,
but now we're passing
drive-through margarita places.
That is right. The daiquiri places, daiquiri shops. You can pull up, order a frozen alcoholic beverage through a drive-through, and it only becomes an open container if you open the straw paper.
Oh no way!
As long as you don't stick the straw in it, it's not an open container.
So basically, what you should do is have a second straw.
Yeah. Probably so.
Now, I don't know if I told you this last time we talked, but I worked in Monroe, Louisiana for like 10 months, and I helped the district attorney there build the wings for his plane. And, the guy's name, he's since passed, but Neil Johnson, he's a great guy. He's like, I won't drink in this town. I'm like, you're the district attorney. It's like, what's going to happen to you? He's like, I wouldn't drink in this town. He's like, I only drink at home. I was like, whoa.
No, it was weird for many years. Like drinking and driving was accepted in Louisiana, and I don't know if it was like that everywhere, but it was very common for all the gas stations to kind of have beer on ice, and it's like come 5 o'clock, you'd see everybody stop off and grab their cold beer with a brown paper bag and drive down the road drinking it. And, we were the last state to move to the drinking age of 21. And so,
Oh, wow.
right as I was turning 18 is when they actually changed the drinking age to 21. And that was all over the money for the road systems. The federal government says, well, unless you do it, you're not going to get any money to fix your roads. And so Louisiana kind of finally jumped on board with that, but now it definitely seems like it's on the other side of it. Whereas before, drinking and driving and alcohol in the cars was accepted, it has definitely gone the other direction. I certainly would not want to have something open container in the vehicle.
When my sisters were in their teenage years, way before I went in my teenage years, the drinking age in DC was 18, and we lived in Virginia. So they would drive into Georgetown to go drinking.
Okay. That makes sense.
So it's probably the same thing.
Yeah, very similar. I had friends showing high school IDs to buy alcohol, at 18 years old.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, one of those things. But I like
we keep ping-ponging back and forth. So after October 7th, you had a surge in training. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it was definitely a surge in training, and and I locally I do concealed carry permit certifications as well. So there was a huge influx with that and just with training in general. I think that's kind of trickled away, but I do believe with constitutional carry, you're going to see an influx, and not concealed carry permit certifications, but you're going to see an influx of interest with firearms training in general. Thankfully, people don't just run out and carry guns without getting some sort of training in the first place, whether it comes from family or professional organizations.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to talk to you about, because when Florida was going constitutional carry, I got into a debate with a firearms instructor, not Florida, Texas, or permitless carry. I got into a debate with a firearms instructor because he was like, I'm against it. You should have training before you're allowed to have a gun.
Self-identified firearm.
I was like, well, why? He goes, because it's going to put me out of business.
Well,
I put all of everybody's rights ahead of me making money.
And I do as well. And it's, I believe wholeheartedly that the concealed carry permit is red tape that shouldn't be there on a constitutional right, especially somewhere in Louisiana where we've had constitutionally protected open carry for so many years. And the simple fact that it's cold outside, or, you just want to cover it up because you don't want other people to see it in society, all of a sudden you're no longer trusted. You're required to take training. You're required to go through a background check. You're required to get permission and all this stuff. It just, it seems silly to me.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah, I think that I think it's a solid move that the country is at least moving to some form of permitless carry, as the great majority of states now throughout the U.S.
So I've told this story a couple of times. I'll tell it again. So my flight instructor in New York has a auto parts store. That's his main source of income, or his family's source of income. His father started a business. He has a permit, and he has, a carry permit, and he has to send documents to New York State showing that he takes cash to the bank. He has to show deposit slips to prove that he still needs a permit. Well, with the New York Concealed Carry Improvement Act, he can't go to the bank with his gun. So
right. No, it's silliness. It's definitely silliness, especially some of the states like New York and I think even California's in that, and Hawaii, that are starting to generate these, massive list of prohibited locations.
Which, I mean, this is exactly what Clarence Thomas talked about in the Bruin decision, which is kind of nutso. He said, hey, don't go doing that. And, New York led the way. I'm just so happy I'm out of there.
Right. The good news is that while it's going to take time, it's very clear, the outcome with the courts is they're going to come back and shut it all down, and we're going to have even
we got to buy Clarence Thomas vitamins and like a treadmill, and it's I I don't know what the game plan is. I mean, I'm assuming the political game plan is always slow roll whatever you don't like, and maybe they're hoping somebody retires, Biden gets to appoint another couple of justices, and everything changes, and New York can do whatever New York does.
Yeah, yeah, maybe that is the game plan is, delay it long enough where the playing field changes.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, it very well could be, which is kind of nuts. So I carry anytime I have pants on. I've done some training. My wife, also who's done some training, almost never carries. She has a little travel safe in her car, and that's where her carry pistol is. And only when things like October 7th happen, all of a sudden, then she's like on body carry for a couple of weeks, and then that kind of tapers off. So I'm guessing you see the same trend in the training business. And
Yeah,
people get all concerned, and then nobody cares after a while.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. It's I've carried a firearm. I don't know how many years at this point, probably since 2007 or so, 2005. Pretty much same you said. If I've got pants on, so pretty much every day, for many years, I've had that firearm on me, to the point, how it is. It's you carry it so much, it's nothing more than having keys in your pocket. You don't think about it. You're not touching it. It's just, part of the clothes that you're putting on, in the morning and whatnot. But, that's, and so there's a lot of people just like you and I that are dedicated to that and have chosen to carry that insurance policy, around from day to day. But then there's a lot of others that, well, if I'm going here, right, if I'm going to go to New Orleans,
right.
I'm going to carry my firearm, or,
Right.
if I'm going out in this location kind of thing. Well, look, I mean, I live in a pretty peachy place, one of the safest cities, in the state of Louisiana. And, we just had Mardi Gras, and, we had a shooting at a parade, in Mandeville, Louisiana here just a few weeks ago.
Oh,
and granted, it was just after the parade let out. But I was literally like 150 feet from where the shooting took place with my kids, with a friend of one of my sons. And, and thankfully we had just left that area and had just gotten back to our car, when the shooting happened. The shooting took place, but it was literally right next to the intersection that we were. And, and it kind of goes back to violence happens everywhere. And that's kind of the mindset that I adopted many years ago, is that it doesn't matter where you live. It wasn't, a mile from my house not long, I think it was last year that you had a violent home invasion where, 2 people were murdered and burned and all this kind of stuff.
You just answered this question.
What are your thoughts? Exactly. Carrying on the inside of your home. I carry. Yeah. And, and it's like I'm in my home right now, or in at least my office, which is kind of a little bit separated from the home, but I'm carrying a firearm, right? It's, to me, having a gun on you in your home is better than having a gun staged, in the home.
Right.
But I also am practical in the sense that there's a difference between a threat that is typically faced with concealed carry in a public environment versus a threat inside of a home, right? And so if you're think about like at a gas station, there you are, you're pumping gas, and all of a sudden you're being violently attacked in a way that you need your gun to respond. Well, if your gun's not on you, you don't have a gun. Meaning if you've got it in the console of your car, you've been carrying around, this false sense of security. Because if you had enough time to get out of the car, you probably had enough time to evade or escape the threat. But the home is a little bit different, right? If you sit at home and you're like me and you've got driveway alarms and cameras that alert you, and maybe you've got dogs and little chihuahua that goes crazy, and you've got all these different layers in place, and you keep your doors locked and your alarm on and that kind of stuff, then highly likely you're not just going to open your eyes to some sort of attacker in your face, right? More likely than not, you become aware, of the intruder trying to get into the home or the intruder coming inside of the home.
You mean you don't have the Bluetooth sensors that record MAC addresses and alert you when there's a foreign MAC address coming near your property?
Yes, there you go. You got to have that stuff, right?
Yeah. I have my house. I got quite a few cameras everywhere.
Yeah, I've kind of gone overboard over the years, and I don't know what happened.
Okay, who's got more cameras? I got 11. How many you got, Crump?
Internally or externally?
Both.
18 internally, 6 out and externally.
That's about where I am. You may have me beat by a camera or two.
On the everywhere besides the bedrooms is covered by a camera.
Wow.
Yeah. I've got the common spaces, are all covered. I don't like, unlike John, I don't have cameras in the bathrooms. So,
well, I go bathroom.
No, you just said bedrooms.
You know what I'm talking about.
I'm going to be careful next time I go to the bathroom at John's.
No. In fact training, which is foreign affair counter threat training, they talk about the cars. They talk about on body versus off body. And one of the reasons where they preach on body is in case you have to bail out of your vehicle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
If you have off body, if you had the bail, if you have an on body, you have it with you.
Right. Tactically speaking, if you can't drive away from that threat, you certainly don't want to be just stuck inside the car if you've got somebody else putting projectiles into the vehicle. It's a really bad place to be. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Get off the X. They teach you to try to drive away, even if it's from the passenger seat. Then if you can't, then you got to get off the X. And if you don't have it on body, then you're screwed. Because chances are you're not going to have time to go rummaging through and pick up your firearm.
That's right. Yeah, that's definitely right.
I love watching. I just watched a cop show where the guy opens the glove compartment. He's got a 1911 in there, puts the magazine in, and racks the slide. I'm like, really? I understand the visual drama, but I'm like, no.
Yeah, put it in drive and just drive away.
Yeah, that's the way it is. Oh, by the way, I got an update. I'm gonna give you guys.
Is this suppressor ATF update?
ATF is sending out an announcement soon.
Day late, dollar short.
Yeah, well,
They noticed our pants were down.
But yeah, it was. They moved it up a week. They weren't going to notify anyone until next week, apparently.
No.
Wow.
So
John, how does it feel to make the ATF crap its pants again?
I don't know.
All right, so
maybe if they thought they get shot, I would have been.
Oh, yeah. We did go by the ATF booth that shot with John. Shooting video.
They don't like me.
Yeah, they don't like me.
They don't like you. But did they know you at the booth?
Yes.
Oh,
I would say no doubt that they knew who I was.
Well, I'll tell you what's more interesting. There's a 3D printer guy we know, Hoffman Tactical, and his family, they all live off grid, and he's actually fairly new. I'm not sure how many years into it now he is, but let's see. He does some really good innovative designs, 3D printing, and one thing he did is a 2-piece, basically force reset trigger he calls the super safety for an AR-15. In his videos, he's always barefoot. He walks up to the ATF booth at SHOT Show. They're like, "Oh, you're wearing shoes today."
Oh,
it's like,
wow.
Whoa.
They put well-informed people at the booth, I guess, huh?
Whoa. Now, in the past, I've gone by, the ATF booth at SHOT Show, and it's just some kind of guy, and he's a decently friendly guy. But nah, not this year.
No, you were with me.
Well, yeah, but none of them had that, like, oh, let's be friends attitude.
No, because people were walking up to the booth with ATF as gay shirts on.
Right. I did see a few of those. I mean, you know, out of the what 60,000 people there, it's not exactly they don't exactly have the most popular booth in the facility.
No.
So here's my beef with the ATF. It's like the Department of Motor Vehicles doesn't hate cars and doesn't hate drivers.
Have you been to the DMV lately?
Well, okay, all right, maybe they don't hate cars. But I mean, the ATF, it's like it's land of no. It's let me think of a reason why you can't do fill in the blank. It's just a mindset that's terrifying.
Barrett, did you go to SHOT Show this year?
I did, yes.
Oh, we didn't run into each other.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing when I learned y'all were there.
I'm never going to anywhere again. I'm staying in my basement.
Look, SHOT Show, I always say it's like it's a coin toss. Every year, you know, it's a coin toss on whether or not you come home, or at least whether or not I come home sick. Thankfully, this year I didn't. You know, I came home, but I had the flu at Christmas. So, you know,
so
I think I just come right. I had the immunities going to SHOT Show.
So you got the natural immunity going to prevent yourself from being sick.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool. They're saying that this SHOT Show set a record for a number of people.
Really?
That's what they said.
From what I've heard about how busy SHOT Show is, I didn't think it was particularly. You know, I've always heard it was like a New York City subway, and there was no New York City subway.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess it seemed pretty busy. I think that there he went again. I think that, you know, whereas a lot of the years, you've got a lot of people that are just there going aisle to aisle, collecting as much swag as they can get. You know, a friend of mine, Derek Poole, always says the swagapotamus, right? They've got the big double carts that they're running over your feet with, and and they're filling it up full of magazines and patches and pins and everything else. This year, there were a lot of people, but I also didn't think that there were a lot of those kind of individuals that, you know, were just there, you know, simply to kick tires and see what the latest and greatest was to be offered in the gun industry.
I also think there was a lot less swag. So, you know, shirts. I think I've only saw one or two places giving out shirts and like one or two places with hats. Now, don't get me wrong, there are probably hundreds there, but just the ones I bumped into.
Right. And, you know, and I try not to even pay attention to it, because the last thing I want to do is pick up something that has any weight to it and have to carry it or stick it in a backpack or something.
I'm sure they're cutting on me, because actually I was working in Delaware on a contract, so I was in John's neighborhood, and Dark DLD After Dark, his neighborhood also. So yeah, I did come back with a big duffel bag full of swag, but my big duffel bag was full of SAR bags. So when I got down to the swag, it wouldn't fill one SAR bag.
There you go. So I see Ed asked, like, what's the MO of ATF at SHOT? And officially, I don't even know what that answer is. Do you know?
I've gone by. I'm trying to think. So this is my third SHOT Show. So the first year, I walked by, and it's just some friendly-looking middle-aged guy, you know, and I'm sure he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you," you know, kind of thing. I didn't talk to him, but that's the vibe I got. This year, they looked like, "Don't fuck with me. I'm gonna fuck with you back." You know, it was like,
Right. I mean, it definitely sounded like they were more informed this year.
And it sounded like they weren't taking any crap. You know, they weren't looking to be a good old boy. They were looking to like, yeah, we're not taking this shit. So I was a little surprised at that. Plus there were a lot more people. There are like at least 6 guys at the booth. You know, men and women at the booth.
Interesting.
And I think that they've done that more over the last couple of years. So 3 years ago, there was like 2 people at the booth, and I don't know if that was a COVID thing, because I didn't go to SHOT pre-COVID. But look, let's just be honest. The ATF has business to do at SHOT Show. They're
no, they definitely do.
I want to talk to them.
Right. Now, and I'm sure that, they're there for, I don't know, answering questions for FFL dealers and that kind of stuff out, at the booth. Outside of the booth, they definitely have business there. I've been going since 2009, almost all the years since 2009. I don't, hang out at the ATF booth very much. It's always funny to see the bumper stickers and stuff that people try to tag the tables with over the years. But it kind of sounds like, that they would not have allowed that, to happen this year. I do remember my first year at SHOT Show. I think it was my first year, 2009 or 2010 or something like that, when, on opening day, you've got executives, I think, from Smith & Wesson that end up getting arrested, and like taken out of the SHOT Show. I think Smith & Wesson had the gun, they had the 20 gauge handgun, right? So this is right after the Judge came out, a couple years after the Judge came out. They came out with a 20 gauge version of it. And very quickly, it's like, no, you can't actually make a shotgun handgun, and they made him pull it from the shelves very quickly.
Yeah. I gotta say, so we had CMMG on yesterday, and they're like, yeah, we don't go to SHOT Show anymore. 2019 was our last year. They're like, we bought land, we got a facility, and when we want to, see people, we fly them out. And with all of the money that we were spending for a booth at SHOT, all of the expenses, travel, etc., that they just, bought land, set up a facility of their own. And I've seen the videos where they bring, like a dozen creators out and do content. And that's how they're doing their marketing and media.
Yeah. And that's, it's, you don't need to necessarily be, at a trade event anymore, because of things like the internet, because of, things like bringing, content creators, like you said, out to those type of events, and a lot of the little regional events that go on. And I know it's super expensive, to be a vendor at SHOT Show, just to be a basic vendor, but, somewhere in like, I guess Sig Sauer or something like that, takes up just a massive amount of retail space on that show floor. I don't even want to know how much they spend every single year.
Yeah, like Daniel Defense is probably spending
right, exactly. You can't open the app up without seeing Daniel Defense, and it's been that way since I've been downloading the app.
Yeah.
So I guess it was 2010 when an executive was indicted in an FBI sting and was arrested at SHOT Show. I was just looking that up, trying to go back to my memory.
I don't know what Dark is referencing here. So here's the problem. Dark is a friend. He says, ha, 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 until they saw Rich's videos. I'm not sure what he means on that one. I don't know who the they is. You always lose the context because unless people type everything out.
Right. Yeah. He also says this company spends 6 figures, but I actually think it's more than that. Some of those larger companies.
Oh, for sure.
I think when you talk about at least the booth creation and all of that kind of stuff, they're into the 7-figure realm.
Yeah, and just having your employees not working for a week and putting them out there, and just even getting a place that doesn't have bed bugs. So where did I get bed bugs? Oh, Mardi Gras. It was Mardi Gras. So that cost me an extra $2,000 when I stay at the Mardi Gras. Yeah, there's even finding a crappy place that doesn't have bed bugs to stay isn't cheap or easy. So
no,
that's kind of a challenge.
Right. I think when the first year I went, if I remember correctly, I stayed in like the Venetian. It was more expensive, but it also wasn't horrible. But the past several years, it's like I don't even entertain staying there anymore because it's like $450 a night or something. Besides all the
well, the week of the show, definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Super expensive during SHOT. The Mardi Gras.
I've never. Crump, where did you stay? Was that Harris?
Harris, yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, Harris was pretty nice.
Plus, I enjoyed going to SHOT Show. I enjoyed seeing people. Of course, I don't get to hang out with Crump a whole lot, so hanging out with him for a week was fun. Uh, thanks. So they're saying I got the senior discount at Circle Service. I won't stay there again either. But the ability to stay close by, so you don't have to Uber in and out and all that, would be really nice to be walking distance. I haven't done that.
That's why I liked about it.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I try to stay, I don't mind walking up to a mile, to get there or anything, but I try to stay within about a half mile. That way it is just easy walking distance in and out.
Look, if you can, like, there's after parties and all that crap. So if you can 5 o'clock, leave SHOT Show, walk to your room, catch a quick nap, for an hour or two, and then go out to, some company party, that makes it a lot easier.
We went to a party at the same place as the AVNs.
So we didn't know that at the time. Although if I was paying attention to my social media, one of the groups I'm on, they're like, hey, the wristband that got you into the classic firearms party gets you into the AVN party upstairs. It's like, what? Same wristband. So not like it. At least from the photos I saw of the AVN party, wasn't that big of a deal.
Yeah, I got picked up by an Uber at the hotel, and he's like, "Oh, so you're in
porn?"
No, he was like, "You're here in town for the convention." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, what genre do you work in?"
Which
and I was like,
the other convention.
I was like, I'm a writer. I write about guns. He's like, oh, you're one shot. He goes, do you know what's at the hotel you were just at? I was like, no.
You just came out of the VIP suite, sir.
Then he told me, I was like, oh, no. I was like, no, I had no freaking clue.
Yeah, the AVN, the SHOT Show, and the Concrete Convention.
World of Concrete.
Always coincide.
Yeah, what an interesting mix.
It is. Vegas is definitely, it's interesting. It's gotten, it's changed a bunch, in the past 10 years.
Yeah, like 5 years ago when I went, it was like really family friendly, but not so much.
Man, not so much anymore. It's interesting. Even like the prostitutes and stuff, they're constantly trying to like steer you away and come this way in some of the casinos and stuff. It's like that used to not be a thing, but now I feel like it's become the norm.
Yeah, it went from Sin City to a family-friendly place. Like when I went with my kid, like a long time ago, there was a lot of stuff to do with families, and I enjoy that stuff actually more than what it is now.
Yeah, where'd we go, John? Where you went on the roller coaster?
New York.
New York. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we did do some family-friendly stuff.
Yeah. Now, Vegas, to me, always the best part of Vegas is not the Strip. It's getting outside of the Strip and enjoying the area, because it's got some really cool stuff in the area. If you like the outdoors anyway.
Yeah, a year ago, I got a buddy that lives out there. We went 4-wheeling in the mountains, got stuck in the snow at like 8,000 feet, and it was kind of cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
It's really cool. Yeah, like Hoover Dam's not too far away from there. And when I went with my family, we left SHOT Show a day early, and went down to the Grand Canyon in Arizona.
Nice.
Stayed there for a while, explored the Grand Canyon, which was amazing.
Yeah, that's we did that. My wife Tracy was out there with me. I guess it was 2009 or 2010, but I think it was 2010. It's the year that she came, and we got to see the Hoover Dam back when you could, drive and park actually on the Hoover Dam and stuff, and got out and saw the Grand Canyon. Did some hiking out in the Lake Mead National Park. It's a great place. Yeah, really, really cool areas out there.
Yeah, there's some really cool areas all around the West Coast. Like I went to California. I was in Palm Springs, in California, with my wife. She had a medical conference out there, and it was hot. But then there was a tram that took you from, you're in the desert where it's hot up into the mountains, like 12,000 feet up in the mountains through tram. I mean, you get off, it was hot. Then you get out and like you see people in winter coats with sleds, and it's like a snow covered mountain.
No, and
So
see,
you
that's why
lose.
California is so cool,
Oh,
geographically.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, it's such a cool state.
Political, not so much, but
Not so
geographically.
much.
Yeah, it was really
Right.
cool because you went from like hot, short weather to freaking flooding,
Winter. Yeah.
like in a few minutes, which was kind of cool. And it went to Joshua Tree, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Death Valley. It was really cool out there.
No, it is. We actually did a road trip this summer, and the road trip officially was a month long. I was on 3 weeks of it and then got dropped off in Wyoming for an event, with some friends out there and stuff. But, we spent, I think, at least a week, out in California, maybe a few days longer, than that. Kind of drove out to San Diego and hung out for a few days and kind of went north from there and just north of San Francisco, went to go see the redwoods. And, it's an absolutely gorgeous state, really is. We even took my family into San Francisco to go into Chinatown, get some nice fresh hand pulled noodles.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
I lived close to Chinatown in Manhattan.
I've been there too.
It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
Chinatown in Manhattan, where you would go buy something that wasn't exactly like knockoff stuff, and you would pay, and they'll write it on a bag, and you take it across the street to another place and give them the bag, and then they give you the item. So
nothing sketchy going on here.
Yeah, so they'll write it on a bag, then you go to a different store because they didn't keep the knockoff stuff.
Yeah,
you paid.
Paid all that money for a photo, and then took the photo over and exchanged it in.
Yeah. They would just write something in Chinese on it, and you just go down the street and be like, "Here," and they give you whatever.
Okay, Dark is asking for a strap check.
Right,
So I always tell everybody that, my first handgun that I ever purchased from the time I turned 21, right? It was like 2 days after I turned 21. I went out and bought a Glock handgun. Now at the time, 40 Smith & Wesson was all the craze. So, it was a Glock 27 is what I bought. So I've got a tremendous amount of trigger time on Glocks, which is probably why, I still stay with them so much. They fit my hands well. I've got big hands and that kind of stuff, so I don't struggle with it. So I carried a Glock 19 for many years, then carried a Glock 17 for a bit. But probably over the past 2 years, mostly, what I carry is my Glock 48. It's an MOS. It's got a Holosun 507K on it, and I use the Shield Arms, metal magazines in it. Mm-hmm. And so, that's currently what I'm carrying. I've been shooting more and more the Avidity Arms PD10. Rob is a good friend of mine, mentor, and I've been shooting his gun more and more. And we'll likely start carrying that, as well. Fantastic shooting gun. I shoot pretty decently, but obviously there's guns out there that just kind of, make you shoot better, or at least make you appear like you're a better shooter. To me, one of the PD10 is one of those. I kind of stack rounds, with that gun very well. The Canic, the Canic FST is another one that I pick up, and it's like, man, this thing makes me look way better than I actually am.
Yeah, the FST is really impressive pistol, especially for the price point.
It is, exactly. It's like out the box at that price point. It's really hard to, to beat that.
I actually have 2 of the original Canics, the single action, double action. I can't shoot that thing worth of crap. And I could hand it to anybody else. It's not the gun, it's me. Yeah. I hand it to anybody else. They're, shooting tight groups. I can't shoot that gun. I haven't tried the newer Canics, but I love the Canic line. They have like innovative stuff. It's really, really nice.
Are you going to get the new Terran tactical Canic?
I mean, look, if you're loving on Terran Tactical and anything he does, that's a bargain.
It's like $1,000 really is. And it's either an expensive Canic or cheap Terran, but I mean, it looks
right.
What would they do to it that that made it upgraded?
They have like a compensator.
Okay, yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Built to his.
It's an SFT, on steroids.
Basically. Yeah. We have a question for you. Johnny 3 Bar wants to know if you do any cold weather training.
I mean, I'm in Louisiana, and so I don't know if his question is, do I go to cold weather places and train individuals, or do I personally get out in the snow, and train? And I go to colder places probably more often than I spend time, in cold weather of what a lot of people would consider cold, right? Most of the time I don't have to do things like wear gloves and stuff because I'm in Louisiana, but certainly do practice and do train, at times. So with things like gloves, bulkier clothes, all that kind of stuff. I think that every year I spend kind of time as I start to bulk up in clothing to make sure that I'm putting in reps and practice, with all of those extra layers, because that obviously plays into, the mechanics of gaining access, to the firearm. But to me, anything colder than air conditioner is cold weather training. And so, I think the last time that it snowed on a range I was teaching at was probably 2 years ago in I guess it was Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And it was May, so it wasn't supposed to be cold weather, but I got there, and it's snowing on the range, right? And so, to me, that's cold weather training. But if you're, talking about the negative temperatures and stuff, you're usually not going to find me going to those places or spending a lot of time there doing firearms training.
Last time I trained in the snow, it was snowing, and we did our little class, and people were going to camp out and do a secondary class the second day, and I was originally going to do that, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm going to go home. It's snowing. And I was like, I think it's going to get bad. So I drove home because it was down near Richmond. And the next day we got a blizzard and everyone got snowed in and couldn't get out. They actually had to get, people come and tow and, pull them out because they all got stuck.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I'm glad I left.
And look, like I said, I like to visit the cold. It's I like camping. I don't mind camping in the snow, camping in the cold, that kind of stuff. But I certainly don't want to live there.
Yeah, shooting with gloves and everything does change the dynamic a lot.
Especially when the gloves don't fit in the trigger guards. Yeah, and so a lot of people put on gloves and don't even think about that aspect of it.
Yeah, that's why the original design for the AR-15 had where you can stick the round in there and release the trigger guard.
Open it up, yeah.
Yeah.
Then Magpul came out and kind of gave that barreled, trigger guard, with theirs earlier on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's all for gloves.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering,
it's funny, with the first couple of ARs I built, I'm like, why do they do this way? That's kind of dumb.
Down there in South Florida. Right.
Well,
yes, in South Florida, they wear gloves when it gets below 75.
Well, I'm not
it's so funny here. Yeah, so it's 70. I think it was 79 today was the high. So the Gulf Stream is close, so the water's warmer than the air typically. So tourists will be in the in bikinis and bathing suits on the beach. Meanwhile, we'll all be wearing hats and sweaters and stuff like that. So you know who the locals are versus the tourists.
Right. And that's, I've got a rental condo over in the Panhandle, and I was just there doing some work, and same thing. I went out to the beach for a few minutes, and I'm kind of all bundled up. And then you've got a lot of snowbirds that are just kind of walking out. They've got, no shirt on and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, you're definitely not from here.
Yeah.
Just when I went to when I lived in the Philippines, when I first got there, I was wearing t-shirts and shorts because it was 80 degrees, and you see people walking around with jackets on. Because it was cold for them. I was like, what the hell? It's it's winter time and it's 80 degrees, but like I said,
I'm telling you, anything below air conditioning is cold to me now. Anything below room temperature.
Yeah, I don't like cold weather or cold anything, actually. I'm warm weather people.
You got to get out of Virginia, Crumpy.
Yeah, no. I'm here for the long haul. Definitely here. Yeah, I'm fighting here for our rights.
Keep fighting. Have y'all regained ground?
Well, there's a bunch of anti-gun bills that just passed, but I don't think they're going to be signed. The governor says he's going to veto them.
Virginia. Yeah, I thought you meant federally. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so
I just meant at the Virginia level because it kind of got weird there for a minute, right? Have y'all righted some of the elected offices?
Well, we did, but then they fell back into Democrats' hands. Besides the top 3 offices in the state, which are all Republican held, our assistant governor, or whatever, Winston Sears, she is a cool cat. She travels with an AR-15 in her trunk of her car. And they asked her one time, it was like, are you going to start leaving your AR-15 home since you have security now? And her answer was, I am my own security.
Good answer.
Jamaican immigrant.
Yeah, military service also, right? What service was she in?
Marine.
Yeah,
so that was her
good
answer.
Yeah. Which is a reality, to a certain degree, right? It's, law enforcement and security can only be in so many places and have so many eyes at any given time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to be able to defend yourself.
Right.
What a lot of people don't realize is law enforcement is not there to stop crime.
Correct.
They are there to investigate crime.
Yeah.
You are there to stop crime.
No, you get pretty lucky if you end up with law enforcement in a position to, to provide that kind of protection to you.
Yeah. Most of us don't have that. So we have to be our own first responders. One other thing, you do have I'm going to get to this. You do have an online training, right?
I do. I've got online classes, in person as well as online. And, I've got a series of online courses that are, to me, kind of like a really good fit for your permitless carry states, right? Regardless of whether or not there's a mandate or not, it's good to be able to get training. It's good to be able to get knowledge. And so, what's that?
I went through all of them too.
Yeah. So, I've got courses that are, geared towards, the kind of like, let me help you not go to jail, right? Let's understand all the legal stuff. And it's not boring, it's pretty attention grabbing because I'm showing real life videos. I'm kind of playing out the real stories of, let's take a look at this event and let's see how this kind of played out, whatnot. So I've got stuff on that. I've got classes on defensive shooting. I've got classes on just being a responsible gun owner, classes on, understanding defensive handguns, for the context of home defense and concealed carry and stuff on holsters, all kind of stuff, online format, kind of just, go at your own pace.
Yeah. Before I brought Barret on for the podcast for the first time or anything, I wanted to go through the training. And I was very honest. I was like, if it sucks, sorry. I'm not going to let you pitch it or whatever. I'm not going to pitch it either.
And look, I was the same way. It's, I wanted to do online classes for years. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to half-ass it. If I'm going to do it, I want something that's going to be, solid. It's going to be worth buying it, right? And I even moved to a 100% guarantee, on the website probably 6 months, 9 months ago. Like, if you don't find value in the training, let me give you the money back. And, and that hasn't happened.
Yeah, it is valuable.
I think that people continue to find value.
It is valuable, but before I pitched it or let you pitch it or anything, I wanted to make sure that it was up to snuff, because I'm not going to bring someone on here and let them pitch something that I don't believe in.
Right.
And it took a couple of weeks to go through everything just to make sure. But yeah, it was definitely worth it. Just something that I would like to throw out there just to let people know.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I do like the program, and I like the program because I actually do like it.
You like it because you like it?
Well, you see a lot of people who bring people on their podcast.
I hope you don't write for any news organizations or anything like that.
No, what I'm saying is, you see people bring people on their podcast or whatever, and they pitch products or something that kind of sucks.
Right.
And
Look at this sham wow towel. You're really gonna like this towel.
With the
Yeah,
sham wow
Gonna
wow.
polish
like,
your car with it.
how can you let someone if I bring someone on here with a product or selling training or even seasoning, for example,
Oh yeah, smoked bros. Yeah.
Smoke Bros, I love their seasoning.
Mhm.
I it's something that I would use or do use, like Smoke Bros, for example. Rich brings up Smoke Bros. I have those guys on a lot. They're a special forces company. They're owned by some special forces people, and they make seasoning. Their seasoning, hands down, is insanely good. And I have a whole cabinet full. I'm one of their customers. I order crap from them all the time. And I have them on the show because I'm like, hey, I use this. I mean, I was like, I'm not being paid to have them on my show or anything. It's just something I use and I believe in because it's like the best on the planet. And I want to share that with other people.
When I do my Northeast, driving tour, like family road trip, I'm gonna have to come through. You're gonna have to like figure out how to make good hot dogs or hamburgers or something with that special seasoning.
Dude, I'm good. I'm good. Well, Smoke Bros is cool because what they did is they took all the recipes that, the SF guys and stuff like that, and there's some SEALs that work for them. They all have their own. One of the things that all these special operation units do is barbecue, and they always take local seasonings and make crap. Well, they took all that from the stuff that they made on deployment by mixing stuff together, and now they sell it.
Interesting.
So you get really unique flavors.
Mhm.
So it's not like stuff that you get off like you go to a grocery store. It's unique flavor. Come by, I'll season some stuff up for you. You'd be like, wow, this is really, really good.
Pulling up their website.
Yeah. So,
Oh, and I emailed you Aries training. If you want to talk to Trey, I'll make the introduction.
yeah, we're
I definitely. I appreciate that.
Trey's a good guy. All right. Well, we've been on for an hour, so we got to get out of here. I got some more work to do. I have information coming in fast and furious. Not
You got a
about
busy
Fast and
evening.
Furious, Fast and Furious. So
Yeah,
I gotta
we'll
get on
have
that.
news tomorrow,
maybe,
maybe.
Update coming soon.
but like I said, I didn't believe the reason why they gave us, and I had my own theory, and it looks like my own theory was correct. So stay tuned.
Yeah, this
Awesome.
is going to get interesting.
Oh, it's going to get very interesting.
Definitely so. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all having me on again. I see
Thank you,
CNT Designs and Arms. He's said he's got family in Slidell, Louisiana. Slidell's about 20 minutes from me, so not far at all.
Over the
But
bridge
yeah, thanks for having me on.
From New Orleans, from Narlands.
Maryland.
I did. You shared the link out. Rich shared the link out. So if you need training, it went to all our channels, Facebook, Twitter, everything. So if you want to get some really cool training, just click on BarretCoTraining.com and get some training from Barret. Good guy, definitely pro gun. He's not one of these fuddy-duddy instructors that don't believe in the right to carry, like that Texas guy.
I was in committee supporting and testifying for our permitless carry bill in Louisiana. I threw a YouTube video out too. Anybody wants to know more about the Louisiana permitless carry? I put a YouTube video out yesterday evening, went live to talk about it.
All right. And what's your YouTube channel? Give that out to.
Barret Training. So youtube.com/Barret Training should be one of the first videos that came up.
Yeah. If one of the admins, or I'll do it. I'll share it out myself. There you go. So go give him a like and a subscription, and yep. And
I appreciate it.
CNT stream the hearings. CNT streams all like the hearings and everything else like that. That's what he does on his channel.
Yeah.
From around the country, different states and federal and everything else.
Oh, cool. I'll check that out.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you later and have a good day.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.